Hi, it's Diane Brennan, and welcome to Dynamic Living with Diane. Now, if you've been here before, you will notice that's a big change from my previous videos. And there's a reason for that. I was in meditation today, and I got a message from my guides that I needed to change the name of my business. And there's multiple reasons why. It's kind of not what this entire video is about, but I'll go over some of them just briefly because in a way, it really is about what I do. And so it's about living more dynamically. And the earlier you start doing that, the better, right? We start aging really back in our 20s, especially in today's toxic world, which you're going to hear me talk about toxic world a lot, right? So today's video really is focused on, if you are aging poorly, whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, 50s, 60s, beyond, right? If you're aging poorly, is that your fault? And my answer is actually yes and no. So I'll start with the reasons why it's not your fault. And I mentioned that we live in a toxic world. I've talked about that in a previous video, and I will mention it again. We live in a world now that is more toxic than we have ever lived in. None of our ancestors have been exposed to the level of stress and toxins that we are today. Even your parents and grandparents weren't. Your parents and grandparents are now if they're still living, but they weren't. So each generation is being exposed to this at a younger and younger age. And when you were younger, there wasn't a lot you could do about it. Your parents were in control of buying the cleaning products and cleaning the house. They were in charge of the meal planning and the food that you ate, right? So you didn't have choices when you were younger. And since we learn from our parents and the way we grow up, initially at least, when you first start out on your own, you do what you've learned, right? So it's not 100% our fault. You're also trained by society, right? The ads all over TV in the United States. Now, if you're lucky enough to live somewhere like Europe or Australia, Russia, where, you don't get those ads, that's awesome. But here in the United States, and I'm pretty sure in Canada, I'm not 100%. I'd have to ask somebody from Canada. If you're from any of these countries outside the US, please drop me a note in the comments down below. Leave me a comment and let me know what advertising is like in your country, how it differs from what I'm about to tell you. In the US, we get bombarded with pharmaceutical ads. So for toxic medications, that they have to legally disclaim all of the side effects, or at least start listing side effects. And there's one ad I was listening to, and it caught my attention just yesterday when I heard it, was these are not all of the side effects. Wait, what? You're not even telling us all of the side effects? I'm sure they're listed in the thing that nobody ever reads. Read those, seriously. If you really listen and pay attention, a lot of these medications are worse than whatever you're dealing with. So the environment that you're in, your country, your region, your family, your friends, social, again, you go into a store in the United States, and I'm pretty sure it's not like this in the rest of the world. And as you are checking out, at the checkout register, there is, in most grocery stores, coolers with pop, soda pop, soda pop, whatever, right? So sugary carbonated beverages and worse, diet ones. I'll Believe me, I'll be doing a whole video on that kind of stuff, right? Chips, cookies, candy, you know, all of this toxic, high sugar, high carb poison. My ex got upset at me because when I was doing paleo so very, very well, he didn't like the fact that I referred to a lot of what he was eating as poison. Until he got on board years later when we were doing keto together. And then he was calling it that too. And you have to think of it that way because it's what it is. It's definitely not food. It may taste good, but it's designed that way. But it's poison. Truly, it's poison. The chemicals, oh. The other thing is because of all of this, because of the way you were raised eating, there's foods that you get, you know, that you can have an addiction to food in general. I have heard people say life isn't worth living without, and fill in the blank, right? Whatever that is, which that's an addiction. Then you are addicted to that food, and it is more important to you than being healthy. I will do videos on breaking the addiction. I talked about it a little bit in my journey from SAD to Lion, that I was really dealing with a really bad sugar addiction. And I've finally broken it. So, you know, think about it. What foods are you addicted to? What do you reach for? What are those comfort foods? Right? So that's another thing that makes it so that you're aging poorly, whether you know it or not. You may not know you're aging poorly, but if you're starting to have any autoimmune diseases, if you're fatigued, if you are overweight or gaining weight when you don't really want to, then one of the first keys to look at is what foods are you addicted to, and are you willing to break up with that food? Getting rid of the one you're the most addicted to gets rid of all of the rest. Or the ones, if it's plural. Okay. And then the other part of aging poorly is things like our hormones. The toxic world we live in, the stress that we live under today, elevates cortisol levels. Cortisol is your stress hormone. Cortisol signals your body to defend itself by holding on to fat. Okay. And estrogen. So when you're going through your menstrual cycle for women, or perimenopause and menopause for women, men also do have a hormone cycle. There is a term called andropause. So, you know, estrogen, progesterone, androgen, testosterone, we all have these. We just, men and women have them in different proportions. And so these are things that, you know, when they're out of whack, when your endocrine system is out of whack, when you're overloaded with toxins from the food you're eating, from the very air you're breathing. It's not just New York City that has really toxic air, you know. Really, the whole world does now. It's just more toxic in some places. And whatever you breathe in goes into your brain via your olfactory nerve system. Okay? Goes straight into your brain. That's why I don't wear perfumes or anything that has synthetic fragrance in it. Synthetic is petroleum. Petroleum is and plastic is petroleum, right? They've proven that in our olfactory nerve center, we now have microplastics because we're breathing them in. They're traveling on the air. They're so minuscule you cannot see them. And they go right up in through, they go through the little villi in your nose and straight up into your olfactory center. And they're clogging the pineal gland. I mean, it's a whole, and that disrupts hormones, okay? So, but then I'm going to say, in a way, if you continue to do so, then yes, it is your fault, because there are things you can do. You can't eliminate all toxins. Like I said, they're in the air we breathe, right? We can't eliminate them 100%, but you can do things to lower your toxin load. And it takes some research, it takes some education, it takes changing out some of some of your products. I've done this. I've changed, I don't buy my cleaning products in grocery stores or Walmart or anything like that anymore. All of that stuff on the shelves is toxic. Even the stuff that says that it's not, most of that is also greenwashed. There's a very big brand that's in all the stores. Everybody thinks it's all clean and green. It's a greenwash company. There's things that aren't on the label that are in there. Not wanting to be sued, I'm not going to name the company. But my daughter-in-law was using some of their products and we had to talk. I shop at an online wellness store whose philosophy is in alignment with mine. Their products are so pure, so clean and non-toxic that I totally trust them. They're testing what they do, how careful they are about everything that goes into what they manufacture, plus how it's manufactured, where it's manufactured. I will have a video coming up in the near future that really kind of goes into detail around one product. And that will tell you the level they go to with every product. And so changing out toxic products, refusing to use them. And if you don't want to invest in, doing something where you shop at a specific place, you want to get stuff from your grocery store, vinegar and water mixed. Cleaning vinegar, water, and baking soda mixed for scrubbing things. There are natural solutions out there like that. And if you use essential oils, you can add some essential oils to those things too then. And those also clean really well. Some essential oils in water. You got to shake that regularly and you have to have it in a glass bottle, but you can do essential oils in water that clean, your citrus oils especially, and tea tree oil, things like that. So there are alternatives you can also make at your own home, in your own home, from stuff that you can buy in the grocery store. I do not recommend buying your essential oils in the grocery store. I have some companies I recommend. I've become extremely particular about everything I use. The soap that I use is one that I found out about from my sister because she was anyway, a backpacker and camper. And this soap is so clean that backpackers and campers use it because it doesn't destroy the flora and fauna if you're washing off in a lake or a stream. It's totally safe to use, does not harm the fishies or the plants. Doesn't make any, thing grow that doesn't belong there or anything like that. No contamination whatsoever. That's what I use on my hair and skin in my shower every day. I use coconut oil to moisturize and condition my hair. That's how particular I am. Okay. Because I'm doing my best to eliminate and control what I can of the toxin load in the world around me. If your hormones are disrupted if you're fatigued, you're overweight, you are not living a dynamic life. So you're not living the life that you are fully capable of living, because then you're not as active. If life is stressful and has all of this out of whack and you're using toxic products, and so, you know, a lot of the things in a lot of your skincare, makeup, cleaning supplies, they are endocrine disruptors. So they're going to whack your hormones out. They're going to raise cortisol and make you gain weight or hold on to that fat, believe it or not. Plus, they're toxic and poison that you're breathing straight up into your brain. Brain fog is a thing. It's not reserved for the old or the pregnant. Okay? So it's a yes and no. Is it your fault? No, in a way, because it's what's all around you and you're just doing what everybody else does and how you're doing what you were raised to do. But yes, if you keep doing it. Because especially if you've watched this video and you subscribe to my channel and watch my future videos, then you are choosing to stay toxic if you're not making any changes. So you can live and age dynamically. It's a choice. And that's what it's about. It's all about the choices that you make on a daily basis. You can't control all of it, but control what you can. And that at least lowers the load. I will be talking in upcoming videos about how to lower stress levels, some easy techniques to do. I said this channel is all about living a dynamic life, because it is possible even in today's stressed world, and it is possible no matter where you have been or are right now, to make changes that make your life feel much more dynamic, much more purposeful, give you more energy, and just help you live a better life. Much love, many, many blessings. Peace out. See you in the next one.